Thank you, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. Let me start off by saying, obviously, congratulations to my teammates, Hall of Fame class 2016. It's an honor. Y'all know that Brett Favre is actually number 298 and I'm number 299. You follow me? So isn't that cool that I am side by side with Brett Favre for eternity? Right where a linebacker needs to be. Yeah. I want to thank my presenter, Dom Capers. I have known Dom Capers and his wife, Karen, since 1993. He brought me to the Pittsburgh Steelers and put me in a position to affect games. And then with the Carolina Panthers, he was the head coach there, and he brought me there, and he put me in a position to affect games. And then he brought me to the Green Bay Packers, and he put me in a position to teach others to affect games. So, Coach Dom, I love you, and thank you very much for everything, Coach Dom. Thank you. All right. So I'm standing here as a member of class 2016, and no doubt, it's a great individual honor. No doubt it is. But I must be honest. I am standing on the shoulders of many players, many coaches, many people. The good Lord has smiled upon me my entire life. A reoccurring theme is that he has surrounded me with people of high character and great integrity, and they have all left an indelible mark on the very fabric of my life. And it really started with my dad. My dad, retired full colonel, Vietnam veteran, airborne ranger, 101st Airborne Division. My dad was a true soldier, and he was a man of honor. My dad was a full-time dad, and he was actively involved in my life, never letting me stray too far from the straight and narrow, although I'm sure that I tested his patience a little bit every now and then. But my dad had me goal-oriented and squared away at a fairly early age. He placed my older brother Keith and me in football and basketball and baseball, and he was either the head coach or he was either the assistant head coach or a position coach. He put us in scouting in the Boy Scouts, and he was either the head scout master or the assistant scout master. He set the standard for Keith and me through his actions and the way he carried himself with discipline and regimentation. He passed on to us Army values: be men of honor, have integrity, be respectful, have an attitude of selfless service. Dad, I don't have enough time here today to thank you enough. I love you so much. As well as my brother Keith. My brother Keith, check this out, pretty good resume. Retired Lieutenant Colonel, Gulf War veteran, paratrooper, Black Hawk helicopter pilot, 101st Airborne Division. Good Lord, another fine soldier, but a better older brother. He was the best older brother for a younger brother like me. He never picked on me, he never called me names, he never degraded me, he always tried to show me the right thing to do. He was always a great example to follow. Now, he was 2 years older than me, okay, and you can imagine it was pretty competitive. Keith was always faster and stronger and tougher and smarter and meaner and nastier and meaner, but he was always better. And it was a great older brother to look up to and to live up to. So I love you, Keith. I thank you, bro, for everything. So along with my mother and my two younger sisters, Kristen and Karen, we moved around the globe every 2 or 3 years as military dependents do. But it was when I was 12 years old and I was living in Mannheim, Germany, living on a military base called Benjamin Franklin Village, that the desire to do something special in football really began to burn inside of me. And I was surrounded by other military dependents who comprised all colors and creeds and nationalities. And all these kids were born again hard, just like their Army fathers and their Army mothers. I competed against the best that the Athletic Youth Association had to offer. Names you don't know, but I know very well. Billy LeClaire, Sammy Jackson, Brennan Hefner, just to name a few. But they were all skilled players, all good people, all fine players. Competing against them made me better. Now in high school, I played for the Granite City South Warriors back in the States. Granite City was a steel mill town full of tough kids with steel mill working parents. Again, the Lord surrounded me with fine people that affected my life. Thank you, Coach Jerry McKechnie and Nick Petrillo, for loving me and investing in me and caring for me. And thank you, Bobby. Bob Furtis, my lifelong friend, who actually shared a dream with me that, hey, one day we're going to be superstars. And I'm standing on the stage with the best ever. So this is pretty cool, huh, Bobby? Love you, man. Love you. So then I go on to Auburn, and I get a chance to practice against a fellow by the name of Steve Wallace. Steve Wallace was a beast at offensive tackle. He played 12 years. He'd go on to play 12 years in the National Football League, Pro Bowl, three-time All-Pro. He won 3 Super Bowls with the San Francisco 49ers, protecting Joe Montana and Steve Young. And this man, in practice, he beat me down. No doubt he did. And I felt the wrath of my position coach, Joe Witt. That's okay. I learned. And I played against another fella, practiced against another fella at Auburn that you may, or I think you know, everybody would know. His name is Vincent Bo Jackson. All right, everybody knows Bo? I'm gonna be honest. Bo, he ran my ass over. But I've got a piece about it, honestly, because he ran a lot of asses over. Again, I felt the wrath of my position coach, but I learned. Surrounded by great teammates, John Daly and Gerald Robinson, Lionel, Little Train, James, and David King. And they all made me better. They helped me find my way as a walk-on there with the Auburn Tigers. It was a blessing. It was a blessing playing for Pat Dye and his staff down at Auburn. And what I learned during those days, those hot, tough days down on the plains, would literally last me an eternity in the NFL. I love Auburn, I am Auburn, and more damn Eagle to all my brothers and sisters out there. I love you all. So my first 8 years in the National Football League, I played for the Los Angeles Rams. Again, the Lord smiled upon me. The head coach, Coach John Robinson, saw something in me. I don't know, maybe he saw a little crazy, but him and defensive coordinator Fritz Shermer created a defense for me and named it the Eagle Defense. And they put me in a position to effect games, and I did. I effected games. But I was blessed to have practiced for 8 years against Hall of Fame offensive tackle Jackie Ray Slater. Anybody have some recall on him? Fine man. Jackie Ray Slater. This dude carried a Bible in one hand and a switchblade in the other. Honest to God, you guys all up here know that's true. He would witness to me as he was beating me down. Good Lord. I was blessed to have practiced against another Hall of Fame player, Eric Dickerson. He ran my tail over, he ran away from me, he ran around me, I couldn't touch him. And I'm kind of thinking, maybe football's not my thing. This is a tough damn deal. I was blessed to have had Chuck Abrimsky, our team chaplain, invest in my life, along with his wife, Linda, kids, Krista, and Ryan. They remain a beacon in a dark world, and I love them very much. My hunting brother on the other side of that 3-4 defense was a fellow by the name of Mike Wilcher. Mike Wilcher. He made me a better player. Just like Doug Reed and David Hill, Dennis Harris, Fred Strickland, Larry Kelm, Brett Fernandez, and Duval Love, all my brothers, they made me better. So I want to say thank you to all my Ram brothers. Thank you for everything. Am I okay? Okay. So in my 9th year, I find myself in the right place at the right time in the football universe. I find myself in Pittsburgh. I would never quite experience anything like being a Pittsburgh Steeler, playing for Mr. Rooney and the Steeler organization that had such a rich history of just lining up and kicking ass and winning. It was awesome to be a part of that. Playing in front of the Steeler Nation and feeding off that energy from those fans. I believed in my heart that I was unblockable, and it was a phenomenal experience. Now check this out. I'm surrounded by Bill Cowher, Dom Capers, Dick LeBeau, and my position coach, Marvin Lewis. I mean, those are some fine, quality coaches. Who can't shine with that much coaching talent around them? Good Lord. And my teammates, and you guys have to visualize this with me. On the other side of me of that 3-4 was Greg Lloyd, and he is freaking out. You know he is. And then one of the inside linebackers was LaVon Kirkland, big, 275, 280, run stuffer, breaking heads. Chad Brown inside. He's hissing like a snake. And I got a Hall of Fame corner named Rod Woodson, who's my corner, Rod Woodson, and he's yelling at me, Greene, get your slow ass out to the flat quicker. And I'm like, what? I've got to play the run, dude. I got to play the run. I'll be out there when I can. It was a strange deal, but an unbelievable, wonderful time in my life. Carnell Lake, he would rotate down, and he would actually tackle everything that I funneled out to him. Darren Perry holding down the top on the back end. I played with Hall of Famer Damani Dawson, Bam Morris, Leon Searcy, Justin Strelzik. I was in football heaven. On defense, now listen to this, we would get ticked off at each other for making a solo tackle and not holding up the ball carrier so that everybody else on defense could get a piece of his tail. Think about that for a second. Make no mistake, it was the pinnacle of my football life. Mr. Rooney, thank you. Thank you, Steeler Nation. Thank you, all my Steeler brothers. Appreciate you. So my time in Carolina, home of the New Panthers, was again a tremendous blessing. I've got Dom Capers again. My position coach then was Billy Davis, another fine, fine coach. Again, they put me in a position to affect games. And the owner, Mr. Richardson, such a class act. We all felt his love, and we all felt his commitment. Along with Marty Herney and Hall of Famer Bill Polian, we almost shocked the nation in the second year of existence. So now here I am in Carolina with a guy on the other side of that 3-4 named Lamar Lathan. And he is freaking out and tripping. And him and I led the NFL in sacks. We were 1 and 2 in sacks back in '96. So Lamar made me a better player. And I appreciate you, man. I do. Thank you. One of my inside linebackers is a fella by the name of Sam Mills, all 5'9" and 218 pounds soaking wet, but this man would stone people and drop them. Just a fine player and a better leader on that team. Guys like Greg Cragen and Brett Maxey and Michael Barrow and Steve Bernheim, Anthony Johnson, they all made me better. Thank you, all my Carolina Panther brothers out there. So I had a chance to play for the 49ers for one season, and everything that I heard about the 49ers being a great organization was absolutely true. Wish I had played for Mr. Eddie D for more than just one season. But I was surrounded again by fine players and good coaches. My position coach, Dwayne Board, he logged a lot of time in the NFL. He brought a lot to the table. And some of my players like Bryant Young and Ken Norton Jr., Merton Hanks, and again, Rod Woodson. I was a part of a #1 defense, and it was a great time. We had Hall of Famers Steve Young and Jerry Rice on offense. And at that time, I'm thinking this: the football gods have really got to be laughing at this one, because I have been beaten so many times by Steve Young and Jerry Rice that now they're actually my teammates, and I've got to say hi to them every day in the locker room. No, hell no, I don't. But thank you, Mr. Eddie D, for that opportunity. I appreciate it. So I played 15 years, and quite frankly, I wouldn't be squat without the coaches and players and GMs that I mentioned. And I'm sure I missed a couple, like my 18 brothers down at Auburn and all the doctors that kept me pieced together to play on game day. But after 15 years of fun in the sun, I walk away happy and healthy for the most part, and a peace of mind, peace in my heart the way I play. And if you think about it, maybe that's the best a football player can do, is to exhaust his passion and go out on his own terms. And along the way, have fun, kicking people's asses with your brothers. That's always fun. Entertain some folks, develop some lifelong relationships, and have enough good health to play some football with your son and daughter in the front yard. So that was good. So now, let me thank my wonderful wife, Tara, married 24 years. She was a blessing that put me on the path to greatness. I'm good. And trust me, I clearly outpunted my coverage when I married this young lady. She cleared my mind when my thoughts were cluttered, and she steadied my legs when they began to shake. And she gave me shade when the sun was just a little bit too bright for me. She blessed me with 2 awesome babies, Gavin and Gabby, and she helped me realize that being a dad would be by far my biggest and best accomplishment. I love you. Thank you. I'm good. All right, I'm good. A little breath. Okay, in closing, thank you. In closing, I think probably most importantly, I want to thank all those brave people that have served and continue to serve our country, from the firefighters to the paramedics to the men and women in law enforcement, those that lay it on the line every day for all of us. And to our combined armed forces, all the soldiers out there and all the squids and flyboys and jarhead gyrenes, all those that stand tall for our beloved country anywhere across God's green earth. Let me say this, that my family and I rest easy at night underneath the canopy of freedom that you deploy. I am eternally grateful, and I salute you. Thank you.